Elevate TV, advancing kingdom lifestyle.
Good morning and praise the Lord. This is quite a long time. I'm almost asking somebody to lift up your hand whether you are there. You know, I've been away for the last three full months. And now I'm back. I feel like, you know, we have come back to school and the grass is grown. You don't know where you begin by either cutting the grass or cleaning the classes. But we are here. We are going to figure out our way. This is Apostle Patrick, and we are here. Remember, every Tuesday morning, we come in Elevate TV, and what do? We talk about leadership. Nothing else but leadership. You know, I'm just reminded of a story. One time, a friend of mine and the two young boys, they were in primary school, lower primary, and the teacher told them, tomorrow, if you have not paid school fees, please don't come. Then the following day, the day the boy came and told the father, Daddy, the teacher says that tomorrow, if we have not paid school fees, no going back to school. The following day he woke up, went to the father and asked, Daddy, is today tomorrow? And the father said, why are you asking that? He said, because we were told that tomorrow, don't go to school. If you are told that yesterday that tomorrow, Apostle Patrick will be back, today is not tomorrow. Today is today. We are here. And guess what? We are talking about leadership, and the topic is amazing. Developing leaders at a personal and organizational level. You know, when you think about leadership, you have to get somebody you know very well, or not just be cracking and scratching. You'll be coming to deliver what he knows and what he does. Remember, I've always said, Tuesday is always a different day, because in this show, we don't just bring armchair generals. We bring people who are folding their shirts, who are doing it. You check them, you can tell they have the scars. And these scars are the ones that make us trust them, to tell them, sit by the camera and tell us your story. My guest today is not a new man. He has been here again and again. And of course, I thought, how do I begin after that long time? I said, you come, let us start the engine together. And he gracefully accepted, and he is together with us. So before I even introduce him, I want you to do the very thing we do when the show begins. Call someone, share with someone, go to Elevate TV, YouTube and Facebook. We are live. Start calling people, start tagging people, start telling them they are back again. And we are here for a good mission. My guest is Pastor Eric Koitan, the man that when he starts speaking, wisdom, knowledge, and all that pertains to leadership. Karibu sana, man of God.
Thank you so much, Apostle. Glad to be back in these studios to have a discourse on leadership. It's always exciting to be here. And we are looking forward to serious engagement.
Wow.
On the issue of developing leaders, developing ourselves, and also within the organization. So I want to welcome people from all over to tune in, to have your notebooks and your pens ready and your tablets ready. Yeah.
Well, I'm so happy you have reminded them. Every time you start talking, people say, hey, I forgot my notebook. Hold on. We can't hold on. Please have it ready now. We are not going to stop. If you don't have your notebook, you don't have a pen, then you must be having a laptop somewhere you are typing. So, we keep saying, somebody was asked, why do you keep on advertising Coca-Cola all the time? Everybody knows Coca-Cola, and the man answered it so well. He said, every day people who knew Coca-Cola die and the people who don't know Coca-Cola are born. Please just look at that camera and just introduce yourself, what you do, where you are, then we start.
All right. I'm Pastor Eric Kotani. I am a minister of the Gospel of Jesus Christ. I pastor a church called Glory Hill Church, located in Tena Estate in the Eastlands area. I'm also an author of spiritual books. I'm currently writing my 14th book by the grace of God. In addition to that, I'm a financial consultant and also a leadership consultant and trainer. Finally, I'm a husband to one wife and a father of 4 kids. That is who I am by the grace of God.
Thank you so much, man of God. You know, anytime we talk about authorship, 14 books, it's not easy. Nice. And you're saying you're still doing it.
Yes.
That's why I want you to talk to us. Tell us about developing leaders. We are talking about 2 levels.
Right.
Personal level
and
organizational level. Please.
First of all, let me refresh the minds of our viewers and listeners of what leadership is about. Personally, I define leadership is influencing people to accomplish a purpose.
Wow.
So in the definition of leadership, we have 3 components. We have the leader, we have the people, and we have influence, which is the practice of leadership. Leadership is influence, and influence is leadership. And leadership is not about personalities, but about practices. So there are things that a leader is expected to do on a day-to-day basis. That is a practice of leadership. And as we develop ourselves as leaders, we must first understand what is the practice of leadership. What does a leader do on a day-to-day basis? So that is where we need to begin to understand what is leadership all about.
Wow.
Yeah. So one, we need to know and understand that this is what leadership engages in self with. You find many people calling themselves leaders, but they're not practicing leadership. It's actually, according to me, it's an aberration to call yourself a leader if you're not practicing leadership. Leadership is about effectiveness, and effectiveness is doing the right thing. If you differentiate that with management, for example, which is about efficiency, doing things right. So leadership is focused on doing the right things. So if you're not doing the right thing as a leader, then you shouldn't call yourself a leader.
Wow.
Yeah, so what are the 5 practices of leadership? Before I go into that, let me first say that, you see, for example, a farmer is called a farmer because they farm. A teacher is called a teacher because he teaches. A lawyer is called a lawyer because he engages in legal practice. So what does a leader do that makes him, that qualifies him to be called a leader? There are 5 major functions of leadership that we need to understand and appreciate. One, the work of leadership is to model. What do they model? They model values. Part of leadership work is to formulate values and also create structures and systems to foster and enhance and reinforce these values within an organization. Visionary organizations usually are known by certain core ideologies which comprise of core values on one hand and a sense of purpose on the other, that they always try to spread and impart within the organization. So these values identify the organization. Apart from every other thing that the organization does, these values are the boundary within which they operate. Another name for values could be organization culture. So companies have cultures. So it is the work of leadership to formulate these values that are distinct for the organization and to create systems and structures to teach these values, to reinforce them, to foster them within the organization, so that the organization has boundaries within which it operates. Let's say if it is Safaricom, there's a way they do their things.
Yeah.
That is Safaricom way. If it's Nation Media Group, there's a way they do their things that is an NMG way. So it is work of leadership to ensure that the organization is distinct in its values.
Wow.
That is number one. And before I go to number two,
all this is now in modeling.
That is modeling.
Wow.
So the work of the leader, one, is to formulate and also to reinforce these values, create system and structures. And part of the work that is done there is, one, to clarify the values and also to align these values to actions, so that when a leader speaks, when he makes decisions, people can see these values being exemplified through the leader. So that is one way of enhancing and reinforcing these values within the organization. Wow. So the leader must model the values.
Okay.
If the organization is known as offering exemplary service, the first person that should be seen to offer exemplary service is the leader. So when people see him, how he goes to every extent to offer exemplary service, people learn from him because he's modeling. Wow. Every leader is a model. And people look up to you. For example, at GCC Kayole, if we do a research, we'll find that people behave in a certain way. It's because you have modeled certain values within the organization. So they see this is what our leader likes, this is what our leader does. So you model.
Wow.
So this is number one.
That's very important. And I think, you know, I'm sure people are wondering, Apostle Patrick, those 3 months have made you very humble. You know, you are not even interjecting, you're just listening. It's just because anytime you start speaking, you speak things that I also want to listen. You know, you should have reminded me to carry my notebook, but I love the way you have put it. Every leader must model.
Yes.
And this reminds me of this man who says he went into a church one time, and then he was told the pastor is not around. And for sure, he had never seen the pastor. So he laughed, and people said, "Oh, why did you laugh?" He said, "Well, I look at you, and I almost can tell how your pastor looks like. I've never seen him, but I can almost tell." Then they asked him, "Can you describe how he looks like?" He said, "Well, he has a long beard, he has a bowed hand," and he explained a number of things. They said, "Exactly, are you a prophet?" They said, "No, I don't have to be a prophet. I just have to look at a number of you, see how you do your things and how you dress and how you keep your beard, and I know you must be emulating someone."
That is true.
That's really great.
That is very true.
So modeling.
Yeah, so we must model, must model values. Number two is to inspire the shared vision. The work of leadership is to cast vision and to enlist people to that vision so that the vision becomes shared. Every leader is known by the vision, that they carry the vision, that they promote the vision that they aspire to. Without vision, there is no leader.
Wow.
Yeah, so inspiring a shared vision is a function and a role of every leader. You must tell people where you are taking them. You must convince them to follow you to that destination that they have never seen.
Wow.
So it is your work as a leader to inspire that vision. And the vision is part of inspiring that vision is, one, to envision the future and to begin to imagine exciting and ennobling possibilities in the future. This is where we are today, but where do we aspire to be? That needs a lot of creativity, and it needs a level of faith to be able to say that we want to go here and we have never seen that place that we want to go to, and also enlist people to that course, that the vision of this organization is to be this great organization that is able to do 1, 2, 3, 4.
Wow.
And one, you must create it, and you must discover it first of all and create it and be able to communicate it on a day-to-day basis, because the organization what it does on a day-to-day basis must be aligned to where it wants to go as an organization and where it wants to carry the people.
Wow.
So the leader must, first of all, picture the future, and not just any future. Picture an exciting future, and put all the resources, the structure, the systems, and even the human resource to be able to pursue that audacious big future that it wants to achieve. That is work of leadership.
Wow.
Yeah, and mostly we have organizations casting vision, and sometimes we ask ourselves, do they ever achieve this vision? It is not as important as pursuing. No, the lack of achievement of a vision, but personally, is not a failure to me. The vision is just to drive you to pursue something.
Yeah,
So-
yeah. Because I've under the debate that
Yeah.
the vision must be too big
Yes,
for you to accomplish.
for you to accomplish. So achieving the vision is not the main goal.
Yeah.
It's working towards
Towards
achieving
it.
it.
Wow.
So the more you push yourself to achieving that vision, it carries the organization to continuously improve. And you inspire people towards that attractive future.
Allow me at that
Yeah,
point.
yeah.
Let me engage a few because, you know, I'm always telling people if we have to go somewhere, we must go together.
Must go together.
And there's some people, you know, keep on asking, why don't you read, you know, when we write, why are you not talking? And of course, I tell them, not that I don't want, because sometimes it becomes really good.
Yeah,
Pastor Grace, you know her.
I know her.
He says, tuned, going to see both of you. Imagine.
Amen.
She is really good to see us. Daniel Mugambi says, leadership is about effectiveness, doing the right thing, wow, enlightened. Sam K, inspiration, says, great, every leader is a model. Whether you're modeling the right thing or the wrong thing. I mean, that's powerful. And then Mugambi says, system to foster culture, values, clarifies the work of the leader, and then without vision, there is no leader. And I like the way people are, you know, following it up.
Yeah.
And I believe that, you know, when you are sharing this, I'm like, there are so many people doing many things and doing something, but they are not getting results. And they are very frustrated. And there are people following who are also getting very frustrated because we are getting nowhere.
That is true. That is true.
So,
That is true.
wow.
Yeah. So vision casting and enlisting people to that vision so that the vision become a shared vision is part and parcel of the work of leadership.
Wow.
Yeah, you must picture a future. You must take people there. You're like a bus driver, and you know where you are taking the bus, and you're convincing people to get into the bus. And everybody is saying, we will go with you.
Wow.
So you must be very creative in picturing that future. Number 3 function of leadership is to challenge the process. What we mean by challenging the process, you should never be satisfied where you are and where the organization is. You should always be looking for opportunities to make the organization better.
Okay.
So you must look for opportunities everywhere to ensure that this organization is always improving, is always growing. You see, the work of the leader is not to sit down and say, we have made it. You always look for what can be improved.
Wow.
And a part of performing this function is taking risks, being innovative, taking risks, experimenting with 1, 2, 3 things to ensure that the organization does not remain static.
You
and
know,
stagnant.
I love that part.
Yeah.
Taking risk, experimenting.
Experimenting.
There are people who don't think it is spiritual to do that. I mean, you don't risk, you wait until the Lord tells you, now wake up, lift up your right leg, raise it down, and the place of risking and the place of, you know, experimenting,
Yes.
they feel like you are not sure. You have not heard from the Lord. Why should you experiment if you know? Why are you risking if it is God speaking? And I think it's going to clarify on that.
Yeah.
Because there are people who never do anything because they are waiting for God to tell them. Now it's time to eat.
It's time to pick the spoon.
It's time to pick the spoon. It's time to chew.
And pick a red one, not a black one.
You know? Yeah. There are people who are still not left the house because they are waiting for God to tell them.
They're waiting for a voice.
What, where. Exactly what, where to do.
You see, somebody who is led by the Spirit. You see, there are many ways that God speaks to us. We should never compartmentalize God and say that, God, you must speak to me this way.
Yeah.
Sometimes God just put an inspiration in our hearts to move.
Wow.
Somebody is waiting for a voice, and God has already given them an inward note to move. So walking with God involves risks.
Wow.
It involves taking risks. You don't have to, God will not give you a list of 10 things to do today. It will put a certain inspiration in your heart, and you make decisions. It's only when you go wrong that you feel your spirit grieved. You feel in your heart that you don't have peace about a matter.
Yeah.
But a lot of the things that we do as believers and as men and women of God, there's a lot of risk taking. There is a lot of risk taking. You see, for example, Moses knew that he was called. He had that very sure in his heart that he was called. But he took the risk. The first time he took a risk, he killed an Egyptian. Was he not hearing God? He was hearing God.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he killed an Egyptian.
Yeah.
He didn't realize that it was not yet time for him to go out and begin to lead the Israelites. So God took him to the wilderness for another 40 years. But it involved taking risk. Even after leaving the wilderness, after leaving Jethro, his father-in-law's place, and he went back to Egypt, his work still involved a lot of risk taking. He had God, yes, but God does not give you the finer details of what he wants you to do. You must move by faith, and faith involves taking risk.
And again, he has given you the mind to think.
He has given you the mind.
Give him the responsibility of thinking on your behalf.
God does not expect us to be zombies. No, he wants us to make decisions based on our understanding of the environment of the situation.
Wow.
And two people can receive the same message from God, but how they apply that message will be totally different.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
taking risk. You challenge the process. Ask yourself, can we make this organization better? You see, for example, Safaricom is one of the most profitable companies. It's in perhaps the most profitable in East and Central Africa as we speak today. But I don't think the CEO and the leadership of Safaricom will say, I think, let us maintain it there.
Yeah.
They always want to improve.
Yeah.
They want to improve their data service. They want to improve their call services. They want to improve
to add products.
Yes, to add products and even the M-Pesa services. They're always looking for ways to improve. Even on M-Pesa, which is a market leader, with a market share of almost, I don't know the figures, but almost 80% to 70 to 80% market share of mobile money business. They won't sit down and relax and say, we are the best. They always look for ways to improve. That's a function of leadership. As a church, you may be having 10,000 members and everything is running well. You can't sit down and start celebrating and tossing drinks and say we have made it. I read a very interesting story of Bill Hybels, Pastor Bill Hybels.
Yeah.
This time his church was about 2,000 members, one of the biggest in the area where the church is located. So one time he was sitting in the service, I think on a Sunday, and he was disturbed. He was asking himself question, is this the best we can be? He was disturbed, and that thought, that anxiety in his heart caused him to first of all to call for market researchers to do some research. And out of that came a very big program called MOVE. And when he applied, the first question that he asked is that, okay, we are 2,000 people, but are people growing spiritually? What does it mean to grow spiritually?
Okay.
What are the processes of growing spiritually? When do we say somebody has grown and has matured? So those are the things he was thinking about. So he made a decision, And from there on, the church, when he implemented the things after the research and after the information that he gathered from the research, which was, I think they interviewed over 500 churches in the US, and he came up with the MOVE program. The church grew to over 10,000. Wow. You would have just relaxed and say, we are 2,000. We are one of the biggest in this area. Yeah. So he challenged the process.
You know, that's very, very powerful. You know, thinking of people settling. And I think that's a problem we have. The moment you are, okay, you are making me remember when we were in school. Yeah. Every school has a number one. But all number ones are never the same. There will be one with 100 marks and another one with 800 marks. And they are all number ones. Right. So I think that place of challenging where you feel there is something that can be done. There is a better way of doing it. That's really powerful. Yeah. And every leader must do that. I think we need to start challenging ourselves. I should be asking, what more should we do?
Yeah, what more should we do?
You know?
Can we be better than this?
Yeah. And Pastor Grace says we should never compartmentalize God. Wow, that's powerful. Yeah, that is what she has picked and her take home. We are not yet. No going home until 30 minutes are over. I mean, 1 hour is over. Yeah.
You see, they say that the biggest room in every place, in any place, is the room for improvement. The biggest room in any place is always the room for improvement. So that room never becomes small, even when you have achieved what you've set to achieve. So, for example, when a company formulates a vision, cast a vision that is too small, and they have achieved it, they can't say, we have done it. Yeah. Hurrah, we have done it. They must cast another vision that is bigger than themselves. Wow. So that they keep on improving. Why is Coca-Cola still doing well over 100 years from inception? It's because of that aspect of leadership. They want to continue improving. The content or the content of Coca-Cola may not have changed, but everything around Coca-Cola is changing. The advertisements, the value proposition, the packaging, the messaging of Coca-Cola. So they're always trying to improve. Wow. But the drink itself may be the same one.
Oh man, I'm liking this. I am liking this. Believe you me, the studio has gone through metamorphosis. It is now a class. Allow me to read a few, those who are in Facebook. I don't want to leave you behind. You know, as I told you, I don't want to keep answering questions after this. If you have any question, ask now. I don't want to say, if you don't ask now, forever keep quiet. No. We are here. You can ask now or even ask later. And Joseph Kenodia here says, I love the conversation going on, casting vision, challenging the process. Powerful. Do you want to say one more thing so that when we come, we continue?
Yes. One more function of leadership is enabling others to act. You see, as a leader, you have, it could be a small, medium, or a big organization, but you have people under you. People are following you, because leadership also is about followership. The people are following you, or your staff, or people, or followers. So you must find ways of ensuring that they are doing the right thing at all the time. So enabling them to act includes things like fostering collaboration, building teams that are aligned to achievement of the vision. So you must foster collaboration, create an environment of community within organizations so that people can work as a team and be able to harness strength and power to be able to achieve the vision of the organization. Another thing that the leader does in this regard is to do capacity building. You ask yourself, do we have any gaps in the skills that we have in this organization? Because in order to improve, one, you must make best use of the people that you have and fill the gaps that you have as well. So that is part of the function of leadership. to enable others to act, put people together, encourage people, and build their capacity through training and filling the gaps that are there in the organization. For example, if you find as GCC Kayole that you need a pastor with a certain quality or a pastor with a certain skill to be able to ensure that you achieve your vision, you'll do everything possible to ensure that you have that pastor. Either raise them from within or get somebody from outside.
Yeah.
So that is part of leadership. How do we achieve the vision? Do we have the resources that are required? Yeah. So that is part of the function of leadership.
Wow.
Yeah.
Collaboration.
Collaboration.
You know, I don't want you to introduce another point before I ask this question. Sometimes we work with the people.
Yeah.
I know it's our process of, you know, making people buy in, but what happens where, as a leader, you have done everything possible, but you can't see results, you know? You are not seeing this collaboration.
You see, the leader must have a bird's eye view of the organization. We say leadership is acting on the system. Management is acting in the system.
Okay.
So when you have a management mindset, you may not be able to see. A leader must step aside and look at the organization from the first floor.
Okay.
The organization is on the ground floor. So you are able to know what is happening. Either maybe the vision, there's no alignment between the vision and the things and the purpose and the mission that the organization is carrying. So this alignment is part of the work of leadership to ensure that everything is aligned.
Wow.
Yeah.
I want us to give some people just some time to digest what you are saying. Believe me, this is heavy stuff.
Right.
We are going to take a very short break. Actually, 2 minutes, to be precise. And believe you me, I'm a truthful man. No 3 minutes, 2 minutes. We'll be back after this. When we are doing this, keep on sharing, keep on calling people, because when we come back, we'll continue. Remember, the topic is developing leaders at a personal and organizational level. We'll be back in a moment.
Every man of God must remain focused in the ministry.
A pastor needs prayer, care, love, and encouragement.
You have to have a mentor, someone you can be able to obey, to love, to submit to.
What these pastors and leaders should do to create the right culture.
The most powerful thing a pastor can do to his people is teach them.
Being accountable to an authority is not weakness, it's strength.
On Encourage a Pastor, we share real and authentic conversations that intend to give solutions to a pastor.
If there's a minister out there are character issues, don't push. Don't keep on ministering. You won't be fruitful.
In the body of Christ, certain wives have given up because probably they feel they haven't gotten the right leadership from their own husbands.
We need to learn to know our husbands after the Spirit.
I'm telling you, don't quit.
Catch Encourage a Pastor every Saturday from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Explore a world of knowledge at Elevation Bookshop. Dive into topics like marriage, money, and spiritual growth with our vast reading materials. But that's not all. We are thrilled to introduce new additions like stationeries, notebooks, modeling clay, dictionaries, pencils, kamusi, and more. And calling all students, gear up for success with our back-to-school items, providing you with everything you need to excel in every subject. At Elevation Bookshop, we're here to assist you in finding the perfect resources for your journey. Do you have specific preferences or looking for something special? Visit us at Kenya Cinema Plaza, mezzanine floor, or contact us on 0748 902 225. Elevation Bookshop. Enrich your life.
I told you to just be 2 minutes, and here we are. Man, as we were having a short break, we are still discussing the things we are talking about. And I believe, and I know very well, this one is getting you from one level to another. Remember, as I've always said, leadership can never be ignored. Everything rises and it falls on leadership. Not my wants, but, well, they have been credited to John Maxwell, although the debate has been there, that it is also a borrowed statement. We have a man that is, let me say the man, that is teaching us today, men. Elevate TV studios, here we are moved. It is no longer the studio. It has become a leadership class. Please, man of God, let's continue.
Wow, we have a class.
We have a class. You know, I can assure you, wherever people are, I don't want to ask them to lift their hands, but they have pens and books.
And their notebooks.
And those who don't have that, they have their laptops typing. If not that, somewhere to type.
Okay. So we are continuing with the functions of leadership. I said there are about five.
Yes.
Majorly five. And we have said there is modeling, there is inspiring a shared vision, said challenging the process. And then we have said enabling others to act.
Yes.
And the number 5 is to encourage the heart. The work of leadership is motivation, coaching and motivation, telling people we can do it, let us go for it. So that is part of leadership. If you find a leader who is always looking for mistakes and not encouraging people, not celebrating small wins, that is a leader not worth his salt.
Wow.
Yeah, you must find a way of encouraging your people, because you're on a journey to achieve a vision. And that journey is usually long. Some people, it takes them 10, 15, 30, 40, 50 years. So you need always to encourage people. Any small win that is there, it must be celebrated.
Somebody should hear this, because, you know, people are depending on who taught them first. Those who went to a hangar. You know, hangar walisema mugema akisifiwa tembo tia maji. So, and I hear you. There are people who think if I encourage them, if I, encourage them, I am telling them you have arrived. So they are always seeing faults. You know, mukufanya hii, you didn't do this and you did the other. So I think that's very powerful. So you need to tell us, tell her, how do you encourage these people? Yeah, because for sure, there are so many people who are demoralized.
That is
discouraged.
True.
The day you meet your boss, the moment you meet them, they are, or your leader, let me say your leader, not your boss.
Your leader.
They are forever, on mistakes, on faults.
You see, one thing we need to appreciate is that you can test this at any level, that people would want to do more what gets appreciated. See, for example, when we are raising our children, because that is a place where leadership applies a lot. When you are always quarreling your children, you don't appreciate them. They may not do what you want. But if you look for the specific positives that you want to reinforce, you want to model, and then you appreciate these things. For example, if they spread their bed, you say, wow, you've done a good job today. The next day they'll do it again.
Yeah.
So people tend to do more what gets appreciated. And leaders must learn that the things, the values you want for the organization, the good work you want, when somebody does something good within the organization, they must be encouraged, they must be appreciated. You must motivate them. Part of performing this function is to recognize contributions of people. You find, for example, in organizations, sometimes there are monthly awards. You find this month, this is our champion for this value. For example, if you have a value of integrity, and there is somebody who has modeled that value of integrity, you say the month of July, this is the champion of integrity. So people are saying, wow, what did this person do to become a champion? Next time I want to be the champion of integrity. So you encourage people, you motivate people, and then you must also celebrate victories. You see, a vision is accumulation. Achieving a vision is accumulation of small but many victories. It will not come at once that now this is the big victory we have earned, we have achieved our vision. It is an accumulation of small wins, small victories. You must be able, you must find ways and create ways of celebrating these small wins, so that people know we are still on the right track.
Wow.
You see, for example, when you watch a football match, like right now there's the Euro 2024. When players are playing, even before they score a goal, sometimes when a defender goes for a very timely and very helpful tackle, and they have prevented the opponent from scoring, you'll find them excited, giving each other high five, hugging. Or when the goalkeeper saved, you see them celebrating. They are telling themselves, we can do it. So those celebrations, what would happen if with all those tackles and saves and hard work, everybody's just gloomy? People will not be motivated to get a win. So we must look for ways of celebrating small wins, however small they are, to tell people we are on the right track.
Wow.
Yeah, so that is part of the function of leadership.
I love that.
I
love it. Because people think we celebrate when we have
achieve a big thing.
You know, somebody told me this, and I concur with you. And with him, he saying, if we were to celebrate birthdays because of achievement we earned over the year, we may never celebrate anything.
We may never.
So he told me, we celebrate the birthday because the year is over. Whether you achieved a lot or you achieved very little, celebrate, so that next year you have energy to do something. And I think what we are saying is there is no small...
There's no small win.
Win.
There's no small win in such a way that it should not be celebrated.
Wow, that's very
We should find ways to celebrate. We should find ways to recognize people who have done a good job, to give them an encouragement, to motivate them to even do better.
Wow.
Yeah, for example, if you're in a marketing and sales organization, and somebody has not hit the target, the sales target, but is making progress, you need to recognize them and say, so and so is almost at 40%, and we are still only 4 months in the year. Let us celebrate this person.
Wow.
You give them maybe a badge to put for the whole month. This is the best salesperson in the organization. They feel good and they will put more effort into it. So leadership function is in such things. It's not in sitting in an office and calculating figures. That is management. We need to separate and differentiate management from leadership. We don't have time to do that now. So many people think that what the management work is leadership. A leader works on the organization, works on the system. The manager works within the system. So the leader is able even to see how management is working.
Wow.
How things are aligned. If you allow the system to work on you, then you will not lead. You will not lead. You'll be too busy worried about how things, the breakdown of systems or structures that are not functioning well. But a leader must be able to picture the future, not be bothered so much about what is happening today.
Before I just go to see, get to read a number of things, let me ask a question on behalf of other people.
Right.
Is it, we say in the spiritual circles, you must see, apostolic bishop, apostolic prophetic, so and so. It's like, I have more than one calling.
Right.
Is there a possibility of one being a leader and a manager at the same time?
Yes. And you need what separates the two is what you do.
Okay.
But you can be a manager. In fact, Most leaders are also very good managers. Yeah, but what separates the two is the function. For example, you can be a doctor, and a surgeon at the same time.
Yeah.
There's a time you're doing surgery on people. There's a time you're just sitting down doing consultancy, consulting and telling people this is the problem, this is the prescription and all that. So it depends on what you are doing at what time. So a leader knows it's his leadership function. He will not be allow himself to be overwhelmed with the management issues because he's a leader.
Yeah.
People are looking up to him to give direction. Yeah. So that is the key difference.
Okay.
Yeah. So as we develop as leaders at a personal level, we must build skills to enable us to perform these functions. Because if you're training a doctor, you must ask yourself, what will the doctor be doing? Then give them the competencies that will allow them to perform the function of a doctor. Similarly, if we are developing as leaders, first of all, before we develop others as leaders, we must develop ourselves as leaders. So you must ask yourself, what does a leader do? And we have done that. These are the functions of leadership. Then you must next ask yourself, what are the skills, what are the specific skills that we need to develop to be able to perform these functions? Then we know that we are going to work on these skills. Let me just mention about 5. There are many skills that we need to develop because a leader is involved in so many things.
Yeah.
Let me just mention 5. Number 1 is emotional intelligence skills. Very key in leadership, either leading yourself or leading within an organization. And we have said in this in this forum before that emotional intelligence skills are 5.
Yeah.
So we are going in 5, 5, 5.
I love that. I love
5 is a number of grace.
Yeah, yeah.
So number 1 is self-awareness, being able to know yourself, your weaknesses, your strengths, your values. Very important, so that you can push yourself, so that you can make improvements where it's important. Self-awareness. Number 2 is self-regulation, having known yourself, what ticks you, what encourages you, what makes you angry. You know your emotional makeup, then you are able to regulate. You must have skills to regulate those emotions, because for example, when you are leading people, you need to be emotionally sound. Yeah, so you have the skills to regulate your own emotions. Number 3 is motivation.
Before you go out of that point,
all right,
you know, there are leaders who celebrate their inability to balance their emotions. You know, they are like "Ami uchemuka, take me like
the way I am,"
and those people make very poor leaders sometimes, and they only can. You know, rally around people or have people around them who don't care much. Because I'm sure you can't stay...
Or people who
are so oppressed that they need...
Who look up to him as a sort of a god.
Yeah. So you can regulate. The one you mentioned is regulate.
Regulate. You know, unajua nachemka.
Yes.
But when you're in a place where you need to get things done, because your focus should be fulfilling the vision of the organization. It's not about yourself.
Yeah.
It's about the organization and about the people.
Yeah.
So you must not allow your weaknesses to interfere with the running of the organization or the impact on the people's lives. You must be able to regulate it.
Wow.
And there are skills you acquire to do that.
Yeah.
Number 3, motivation. And motivation is the ability to seek to achieve for the sake of achievement. You must be able to push yourself, saying, I'm not doing this to get a job, I just want to do it. For example, you can push yourself and say, I'll be reading 20 books in a year. Nobody's going to award you for reading those books. You're just motivating yourself.
Yeah.
So people with the skill of motivation are able to achieve for the sake of achievement. Not for purposes of making money or getting recognition. They are able to push themselves. So leaders must have this skill of motivation. It will also help you to push the company to another level.
Yeah.
Number 4 is empathy. Empathy. Being able to know others' emotional makeup.
Yeah.
You must know the people who report to you, fellow leaders, and the people that you interact with. Your interactions with them will either stifle or deepen your influence over them. So you must be able to know this person at this time I will not speak to them what I want to speak to them. Or this is the way to communicate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Number 5 is relationship building or social skill. Part of leadership is to build relationships. As you build relationship, you are able you are able to make certain things work through relationship. Relationship with the people who report to you, a relationship with your colleagues, a relationship with people outside the organization that can support or help the organization to achieve certain things. So these skills are very important in leadership. Emotional intelligence skills. Number 2 skill that we also need to acquire and build, constantly improve on, is communication skills. As a leader, you must be a communicator, and we communicate on a day-to-day basis. Communicating values and casting vision requires us to communicate in a way that inspires people.
Just hold there,
Yeah.
man of God, because as I told you, man, anytime you start talking, I have to keep on giving people some break.
Yeah.
Those who want to ask a question, to ask, but also to just read what people are getting.
Yeah.
Remember, this is our show because we have the people here.
Right.
And you know, yeah, as Pastor Grace was saying, yes, I'm here typing. And then somebody is asking this, maybe you write somewhere, you may ask, you may answer later. He says, what is your message to the Gen Z? And as the young people who believe they have no leader, they don't need leaders. And then he is also saying, do you think our current Gen Z young people are right in the idea of having a leaderless nation or community? So I think that's a very good question. What we do is towards the end, let's look at that. So Daniel Mugambi, a very good question, and I'm going to have my guest give you an answer. Keep watching, keep waiting. I can tell you he is going to handle that before we come to the end of it. And then Esther Karegi says, Idin's success is not in methods, but in relationship. That is what you had just mentioned. And then says, Ben says, a leader should celebrate even the small wins. That's very powerful. Wilbur Mindia 254 says, I am loving the conversation. So let's talk about that communication.
Communication, I was saying that we need to communicate either values or whatever the organization, the leadership is communicating within the organization. We must find ways of communicating in a way that inspires people and in a way that imparts confidence and enthusiasm in the people, because we want the people to help us achieve our vision. So the way we communicate is very important, whether it is verbal or written or just in the media. Many organizations have grown because of the way they have communicated their messages, even in social media. You see, one mistake in communication, let's say in the social media, can destroy an organization. Just one mistake. So we must build communication skills. We must know what the right time to communicate, the content of our communication, and we must understand our audience when we are communicating. So organizations communicate with their people and also communicate with the outside world. So we must build these communication skills to be able to enhance the capacity of the organization and the ability of the people to help us achieve the vision of the organization. That is number 2 skill. Number 3 skill that we need at a personal level as we grow in leadership, as we build our capacity in leadership, is decision-making skills. Many people think that you just make decisions how you feel. There are skills that you can acquire to help you make decisions. And you need to build skills to be able to make the right decisions and at the right time. Yeah, so that is a skill we can build as leaders. Because the work of leadership, on a day-to-day basis, you make decisions.
Yeah.
on a day-to-day
You know,
basis.
somebody saying, even if you don't make decision, that not making
is a decision.
Is a decision you're making.
So we make decisions on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
Then we must build the skill of making the right decision, because any misstep or any wrong decision will either dissipate your influence over the people or enhance it. When you make a decision and people are like, your influence goes down. And leadership is about influence. You may lose a few followers because of a decision that you make. So we must build those skills. We must also build character. And character speaks of two things: integrity and honesty. Honesty is saying what we mean. Integrity is meaning what we say. So our character is based on those two.
Say it again.
Honesty is saying what we mean, and integrity is meaning what we say. So our character is based on those two major issues: in our level of integrity and our level of honesty. How do people view us? Do they believe our words? Will we walk the talk? Yeah, those are issues of integrity and honesty. So we must build character, because character underpins leadership. It's very important. And character also plays a role in building trust. The number 5 thing that we need to do is to build trust with the people. And anybody who wants to build trust with the people must exemplify 3 qualities. Number 1 is character, that we've talked about. Number 2 is competence. You can't lead people if you are not competent as a leader. For example, within the church organization, how will we measure competence? How lives are transformed, the kind of message that you teach people, and how you counsel people. Are people's lives being changed? That is competence. And it plays a role in people trusting you.
Wow.
For example, if we have people and people are losing their jobs, marriages are crumbling, people are sick in the church, people see that there's lack of competence in the leader, and they begin to lose trust in the leader. Wow. So we must find ways of building trust. So there's character, there is competence, and then there's connection, the 3 C's of trust. Connection, it is the leader's responsibility to initiate connection with his people. Don't say anybody who wants to connect with me must come. You must go out and connect with them.
I love that. You know, man of God.
Yeah.
My director is telling me that, believe it or not, you have spent your hour. But
hour is gone.
But you know, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
We say, blessed is he who does not say everything. We shall be invited to finish.
Amen, amen.
You might attend.
Amen.
But before we go, let me ask you, you have seen what is happening in our country.
Right.
The finance bill. We have a president who is our leader. You know, we say, if you are a leader, you must know that you're on the least raised podium.
Right.
We can see you. We can see our president. Looking at him and, you know, choosing to learn or to borrow some, you know, through mistakes or successes. What do you think went wrong in this finance bill from the leader's perspective?
One is that we have to go back to one of the points that we've mentioned, is that trust. When a leader loses trust with the people, he cannot influence the people.
Yes.
And trust is based on those 3 things we've talked about. Character, and character is about integrity and honesty. What is the average perception of the Kenyan citizen about the integrity and the honesty of the leadership of this country?
Okay.
Those are very critical issues, because one, when you promise people things, you must carry them through. Don't just promise and forget about these things. And when you talk to them, are you truthful in the way in the things that you say, or are you playing games with them? So leadership is about.
Is it taking motivation too far?
Yeah. Or is it just a motivational talk?
Yeah.
Yeah, because people want certain goods to be delivered. People want performance from the government. For example, in this country, and what is the perception on the corruption level at this time? You see people trying to portray a certain level of opulence, and you wonder where they're getting all the money. And so people have a right to complain. You see, as a leader, your responsibility is to take people where you have promised to take them. And if you're not taking them there, they have a right to complain. Yeah, so there are issues. We cannot sweep these issues under the carpet and say this is the president of the church. you
know, I still want to insist. There's a statement I said somewhere. Church also must rise.
Right.
We can't be put in church praying alone. And I think one time I was teaching someone, saying, a son that is instructed is better than a son who is prayed for. You know? And I think the church also need to know that the leader who is instructed is better than a leader who is prayed for. Because prayer is unto God, but instruction is unto the person.
That is true.
And I think the church now need to think about instructing, not just praying. Because prayer, we do pray.
We do
but
pray.
we will instruct.
Right.
So, and I think, I don't want to take the question I ask again, but let me take it further. What do you think about the children? Mugambi is asking the question. Daniel is saying, what is your take about having a leaderless nation? The Gen Z don't want to have any leader they want
you see what the Gen Zs are saying? They don't want to have somebody occupying a position. Leadership is about influence, and they are influencing each other. There are so many leaders within the ranks and file of the Gen Zs. That is how they are able to, on a Sunday, have hundreds of thousands of people in Uhuru Park.
They are able to coordinate themselves.
How are they able to influence each other? That is leadership. So the fact that there's no one person saying, I'm the chairman, I'm the president, does not mean that there's lack of leadership.
So there's leadership. What they are
there's
saying
serious
is
leadership.
position.
There's position. And leadership is not about position. Leadership is about influence. So that influence is working a lot. And they have very powerful and strong influence within that group.
You know, when we come, I'm now, you know, saying that you'll be there on Tuesday. I would want us to look at, as we continue, at some point, we are going to get very real cases. You know, as we say, in this forum, we don't want to deal with abstract. We want to get serious cases. Look at it. Because somebody saying, who will tell the king that he is naked? We may not tell the king, but the king may hear when we are talking. And somebody may go and say, we heard that naked people look like this. As they were talking, they described nakedness. And not advising the president all that, but leadership is leadership. As you say, there's no spiritual, there's no other. We combine them and call them leaders. And so we will have to come back. But because time is really gone, Mugambi, you have been told, even though you are not saying this is our leader, leadership is being seen. You are, the position may not be there, as you are saying, but again, leadership is being seen. So we are coming to the end of our show, but before we do, I give you a chance to greet somebody and, you know, I mean, not greet, but tell someone how to get all these many books that you have written.
All right. Our books are available on several platforms. Especially Amazon.com. So you can buy them from Amazon.com. You can also, I'll give my WhatsApp number. You can order from the WhatsApp number. If you just go and Google Eric Kotani books on Amazon, you'll find them. And you can buy from there. From WhatsApp, you can order. We can make ways of delivering those books to you.
Give us a number.
0721 475 497. 0721 475 497.
Wow, thank you so much. That is what we end for today. Remember, Apostle Patrick Muriithi was your host, and I'll continue hosting this for the next couple of months by the grace of God. But remember, as I've always said, people ask, where does this man come from? I come from Kayole. And people say, hey, can something good come out of Kayole? Kayole is where I minister, Gospel Celebration Church. And you come to Kayole one, I'll be there. And remember, again, I'm in this Elevate TV every Sunday, 6:30 to 7:30. We can meet there as we talk about the calling of service. I'll be happy to see you next week on Tuesday. God bless you. From our side, we say, Shalom.
Shalom.
Sister Talk.
Learning to